All right, so here we have a 2002 Honda Accord. This is a teenager's car, and the reason why it's here is because they were able to get the key out of the ignition with the vehicle still left in neutral, and then the car started rolling away once they walked away from it. So that's why we have the car. So this is the issue that we're looking at right now. Is so they'd be running the car, they'll be in drive, and then not putting it in, they're able to pull the key out. This should not be it. This should not happen. So there's a couple things we want to check to make sure is going on. Once the key is on, we shouldn't be able to move the shifter until we push the brake in. Once we push the brake in, we can hear it, a little plunger, but once we push the brake, now we've taken the lock off. See, that other side of this is, so we're in park, we should not be able to return to pull the key out. So what we're going to do is we're going to take this lower cover off, we're going to get to the ignition lock cylinder and the locking mechanism in here and see what we have going on. All right, so we're going to start by removing the lower cover here. We have a couple Phillips head screws. That's all the screws that we have. All right. So basically we're just pulling it apart. There's little clips around the outside that held that in. This is a wire clip right here. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and remove this lower cover. We have our fuse panel cover on the side that will expose a bolt here. Then we have another cover panel here. We're really shooting for this bolt right here. Oh, it looks like that's even broken there. Right there. See, these are the little clips that we're after. That's what's stuck. There's 4 that holds that plate, so this one on the bottom corner is not wanting to come out, but all we really needed to do is get to that bolt, which the ear was already broken, it looked like. So we're going to go ahead, I'm going to go ahead and set this over to the side, and I'm going to do a little glue. I'm going to put this tab back on while we're waiting to do the rest of the repair. It'll be drying. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and, there's 4 bolts here that hold this steering column in. We need to lower the steering column because we have some, I'd say, bolts that we need to get a direct view of. So being that we're going to put this down, we have some electrical connectors that may be binding us or something from laying it down. One of them is the airbag. So what we're going to do before we go any further is we're going to disconnect the airbag. That way we don't have any accidental deployments or anything like that. So I'm going to go underneath the hood, disconnect the negative side battery, and then I'll be back to do some connections here. All right, so now I have my airbag connection undone. There is 4 bolts that hold the steering column up. We're going to go ahead and loosen these bolts and drop the steering wheel. Controls and all that stuff, we need to unplug those plugs there. And then we have on top are the 2 bolts that we need to drill out. Okay, all right, so we're going to go ahead and remove for our wipers. Okay, this one has kind of a safety lock. We have to push the piece out the back before we can do the tab. Okay. Go ahead and get this one out of the way too. All right, so these 2 bolts right here, yeah, they don't have any heads on them. So what we have to do is we have to drill the head out. All right, so here's the 2 heads we need to drill the heads out. We have a little bit of a flat surface on each one, so we could use a punch and center punch it and to guide the drill bit and all that, but in reality we just need to drill somewhere on that flat head. Once we get a bite, we want to drill the head off of it. So we'll get started with a smaller drill bit now. All right, so let me step up the drill bit size. We can almost see our line where our bolt's going through. There was one. There's the other. So we pretty much drilled all the way till the head was missing. We could start to see our little line, and then we just beat it right through. All right, so this is our ignition lock cylinder. This is our lock for our steering column lock. For our security system, and then this is the starter switch that sends out all the power to disperse throughout the car. We'll go ahead and we'll take this other connector out. All right, and then this wire is going to lead back into our fuse panel. All right, so here we have our new part that we got from Auto Parts Direct to You. So what you want to do is we want to set it next to our other one. We want to make sure that everything is the same. All right, so you see we have some new bolts that with the kit, a new top ring. All right, so we're just making sure everything is the same connector. On this side we had connection. Oh, looks like we're missing. Well, I think that we're going to take this piece off and transfer it over. That's for our steering immobilizer, or our key immobilizer, our security system. Little Phillips head there. So we'll go ahead and remove that, transfer that over. All right, so now that we have verified our part, we're going to go ahead and we're going to clean up all of our cuttings and shavings and then go ahead and reinstall our new piece. All right, so we're going to go ahead and reinstall. Make sure everything looks good. So we can kind of see our band. We know exactly where it was mounted. Put our column back up. Then we can run our wires. That way we don't get crossed up on which way they were laying. All right, so now we have everything installed but our covers. We're going to go ahead and hook the battery up. Go ahead and try it out. See, see the improvement that we did. Hopefully. Whew. Okay, so now we have our new ignition in. We do have a new key. So this is an immobilizer key. That's something we'll talk about in just a second. So first, let's just verify our complaint was we could pull the key out. So see, now we can't back up. We can't back up until we hit park. Then we can back up and get our key out. All right, so that's a safety feature. That's kind of what we were fixing. Well, within fixing that, that's where we get into the immobilizer. So now we have this key that's not programmed versus this key that is. You can see when we put the key in, our security light immediately starts flashing. It knows the wrong key is in. All right, so we need to program this immobilizer system to the new key. That is done by Honda with the Honda scan tool. We can put it in a bypass mode. Our bypass mode is only good for one start and within a 10-minute period. So once we start it within the program, we have 10 minutes to start it. After that 10 minutes, we will not be able to start the car again without reperforming the bypass code. So the bypass code is a 5-digit brake code. So we're going to use the brake pedal. How it's going to work is we're going to turn the key to the on position. We're going to push the brake as many times as the first digit in our 5-digit code. In our case, it's an 8, so we're going to push the brake pedal 8 times. Then we're going to turn the key off, turn the key back on, go to our second code, or our second digit of our code, which is ours, a 9, so we'll push the brake 9 times and turn the key off. We're going to go through that same procedure until all 5 code numbers are entered, and then we'll be able to start the car in a bypass mode so we could drive to the dealer and have the dealer program our key set. Because the programming takes a Honda scan tool to access the computer. So we'll go ahead and we'll put it in bypass mode now. So we'll turn it on. It is from 1 to 2, 1 to 2, 1 to 2, not 0 to 1, 0 to 1, 0 to 1. All right, so now that we got our car in bypass mode, we're gonna have to drive it down to the dealership now so that they can program the key for us, so we don't have to go through that program start each time.